Hello. I'm going to be talking today about the number one difference between those who are successful and those who aren't. So, today, I have had many people over the years, and this is not a brag because I do this to others too. I ask them, how have you been successful? How have you been able to do the things that you've done? How have you been able to reach certain goals? These are the questions that I get asked. These are the questions I ask others, my colleagues, clients. And it's smart to ask this type of question, right? But why do we do it? We ask because we want an easier way, a simpler way. And today I'm going to talk about that number one difference between those who are successful and those who aren't. And I have to state that there are so many factors based on who the person is, based on what their business or career or industry is, based on the steps they take, the mentoring they have, the coaching they have, the programs they buy, all that stuff. So, what is the one piece that can go kind of across the board with all successful people? What is one thing that no matter who you are, where you are, you can do? Because there is one major difference between those who are successful and those who aren't. I'm going to tell you first the story that brought this kind of one word to me. And I'm going to share today with you what that is and give you some suggestions on how to do it yourself. Does that sound good? Does that sound fair? Awesome. Let's dive in. I'm going to share with you first just a story. I am part of a mastermind. I'm part of different groups, different coaches. With this particular coach, I've been with him for 5 years. I go to a mastermind for 3 times a year with all the other coaching clients, right? And I see clients come and clients go. And I've been a staple being there all this time. And what I have seen is that people come and they learn all this fabulous material, and then we go back into our own worlds and our own businesses, and then we come back and we learn more incredible material. And people were noticing that I was getting ahead. People were noticing that I was having really great success with what this coach was telling me. So I got to pause there for a moment. Also, as I was growing up, people would say to me, wow, Diane, like, how have you been able to have the success you've had? How have you been able to be the captain of this team or the president of that or win this award? How have you been able to do the specific things in your business? So I've been asked, how have you been able to have a successful coaching practice while also like having 2 young children and being pregnant for some of that time? And also being asked, how have you been able to publish books? How have you been able to be consistent with your podcast? How have you been able to launch new programs and continue to launch new programs? Now, on the practical side, I have probably given numerous answers, very specific to each of these things. And again, I'm not saying all these things to brag by any means. I'm just saying them to prove my point. Okay. So let's go back to new members coming into this coaching community and asking me, like, how have you, Diane, had so much success with this coach's program? And it all comes down to one single word. I'm going to give you the first letter and I'm going to see if you can figure it out. The first letter is I. First letter is I. I'm going to give you a moment to think about what that could be. So the I that is the solution to this, because I had to really think about it. What is something that anyone could do? No matter who you are, what industry, what position you are in, like, are you startup? Are you in growth stage? No matter what it is. And you know what the I is? Implementation. You see, when I would learn a technique, I'd very quickly write down how I would do it and prepare to do it. Either I'd send it off to my team or I do it myself. And so when I'd show up at the next mastermind, I had another book done, or I had my speaker brochure done, or I had put into place a specific sales tactic that I used when I offered from stage. Now, you may say, well, Diane, you have a team. Yeah, well, not everything I had my team do. But the key thing is implementation is the thing that helped me get forward. Like, I just did the work. I don't know how many times my friend Michelle and I would show up at these masterminds where we would just learn something, and Michelle and I would show up and we had implemented it and other people hadn't. And that's okay. And there's no judgment there, but they would come to me and say, oh, how have you had so much success? I just did what I was told. It's kind of like we all know what to do to be healthy. We all know what to do around probably exercise and nutrition, but are you implementing it? We all know what we're supposed to do to have a more positive mindset, to be more in tune with ourselves, but are we doing it? We all know how to have a good night's sleep, but are we going to bed early? Are we actually implementing what we have learned? And I don't know how many times I've given a talk, and it's not like what I'm saying some of the time is stuff you've already heard. And people go, oh yeah, I know that. Oh, I teach that. Oh, I know that. But are you actually implementing it? So there's a huge difference between knowing something and implementing something, being taught something and implementing something. That's the difference between those who have been successful and those who haven't. Is this just a wonderful idea on paper? Or is this actually something that you are putting into your business or your life? Now, I get that everything you're taught should not be implemented. Either it's not right for your business or your life, or you're focusing on other pieces. Therefore, you have to kind of put the stuff on the back burner. So if I go back to the health thing, if you are wanting to be healthier, it's maybe not wise that tomorrow you implement a healthy eating plan, a fitness plan, a sleep plan, to reach out to all the different doctors and to like do all of this stuff because you still want to have balance in your life. But which piece can you implement? So this is kind of getting into the suggestions now of what do you do in order to implement? So if it is something that you want to do, and in these cases, people will come and say, oh my gosh, you finished your book. And I'd say, how did your book go? And they'd say, oh, I'm not done it yet. And I'm like, oh, I thought you said that you wanted it launched before the end of the year. Yeah, but yeah, I didn't do it. So if you want to implement, first decide, what do I want to implement? Which things do I want to implement? What do I want to have success in? What results do I want to have? Then you got to come up with a plan of how you're going to actually do it. And is it you doing it or is it someone else doing it? If you want someone else to do it, hire someone else to do it. If that seems overwhelming, then call me. I'll have my virtual assistants implement it for you. But the key thing is you have to take some steps. You have to move forward towards getting it done. And you have two choices. You can implement it very quickly and all at once, or you can take your time. So you could lock yourself in a room and write that book over the course of, the next few weeks and do it every day. Or you could do every day 1,000 words and be done in a year, or be done in so many months, right? You have different options to how you implement, but the key thing is just getting it going. And a lot of that is around making that commitment to having it done. So I don't want to get into like the whole goal setting stuff. I really want to just bring it back to implementation. So if you can reflect right now on your life and ask yourself, what are the things that I want to do or I want to have happened? And do I have an implementation plan for those? Maybe you don't. Maybe that's why you haven't had the success. Maybe that's why you haven't reached some of your goals, is that you're just not implementing what you want. And a lot of that comes down to Is it a smart goal? Is it a live goal? Is it something that you're like right in front of you that you're being reminded of? 98% of people don't implement. And that's the funny thing. And there's so many reasons why people don't implement, and I'm not going to go into all of them, but it's a choice. It is such a choice. And so now when new groups of clients come into this coach's program and they say, "How have you had success?" And I said, the key thing is implement. Implement what he tells you. And I say that to my clients too. Implement. But the difference is that when I'm working with a client, we set up what are you committing to? There's accountability. There is maybe support in how to do it. And there's a due date. So if you don't currently have that with your coach, get that into place. Because it's all good and well to have all these amazing ideas come your way. But if you are not going to like set up the accountability and know when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it and what the due date is, there is a very, very high chance, not even a chance, guarantee that you're not going to achieve it. So I ask you today, what is it that you need to implement in your life? And what is it that you need to implement in your business? So I'll give you an example of something that I'm implementing in my life. One of the things I need to implement in my life is a better nighttime routine for bed so that I actually go to bed at a decent time. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I've been reading the 5 a.m. club and want to move myself to getting up at that time. And so this is one example of something to implement, to put into place. And then on the business side, what I'm really implementing is a lot of systems and processes in my business. Because I don't want to have to be I don't want to be so valuable to my business that I can't step away from it when it's necessary. So let me know, what are some things that you need to implement in your life? Trust me, they are going to make you so much more successful. And I don't mean successful in like tons of money or successful in the way of promotions and everything. That can come. But successful just in like you look at your life and you go, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I feel satisfied in what I've been able to do. That is really the true testament of success. If you do want someone to help you implement, we can have a conversation about that. I do have a team of virtual assistants in the Philippines. They are skilled. They are hardworking. They are vetted already by me. They're trained. They have a lot of systems and processes from me. So if you want to know more about that, just reach out. Okay, I'm going to wrap up here. If you have thoughts on maybe where you're struggling to implement, let me know. And I could do another talk on different areas of life to implement in, different areas of business to implement in. And otherwise, I'm wishing you an amazing day and go implement one thing, right? Don't take the fuel and the time that you've invested to listen to this, to watch this in vain. Like, go implement one thing. I hope it's inspired you. Until next time, guys, stay dynamic. Bye.